बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अच्छा बच्चों, नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है हमारा इम्पीडेंस ऑफ द सर्किट। इम्पीडेंस ऑफ द एसी सर्किट। अब एसी सर्किट में हम ऑलरेडी जानते हैं कि जिस तरह डीसी सर्किट हम पढ़ते थे कि सिंपल कोई भी डीसी सर्किट हमारे पास होता था, उसमें कंट्रोलिंग एलिमेंट सिर्फ एक ही होता था जो करंट और वोल्टेज को कंट्रोल करता था। तो यहाँ कोई डीसी सोर्स है, बैटरी या सेल, और ये कोई लोड डिवाइस है लाइक रेजिस्टिव डिवाइस है, और ये रेजिस्टेंस सिर्फ कंट्रोल करती थी हमारी वोल्टेज या करंट को, जो करंट इस सर्किट में से फ्लो कर रहे हैं। अब ये अपोजिशन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक थी इस सर्किट की, टोटल अपोजिशन टू द फ्लो ऑफ करंट, जिसको हम रेजिस्टेंस कहते हैं। अब इसी तरह जब हम एसी सर्किट पे जंप करते हैं तो एसी सर्किट में हमारे पास जो कंट्रोलिंग कंपोनेंट्स होती हैं सर्किट के, वो तीन होती हैं मेन। उनमें एक ही भी शामिल है रेजिस्टेंस, बट इसके साथ साथ दो और कंपोनेंट उसमें आ जाते हैं जिसको हम कैपेसिटर कहते हैं और इंडक्टर कहते हैं। कैपेसिटर और इंडक्टर की फॉर्म में दो कंपोनेंट और आ जाते हैं विद एडिशन टू रेजिस्टेंस। And there are main three components of an AC circuit that control the current as well as voltage across that circuit. But due to each component of that circuit, there exists some opposition to the flow of electric current. And net opposition to the flow of alternating current through this circuit is the combined effect of the opposition of these three components. That's to say कि टोटल अपोजिशन जो हमारे पास सर्किट की करंट के खिलाफ होगी, लाइक करंट को अपोज करेगा सर्किट, और रेजिस्टर के अक्रॉस भी करंट को अपोज किया जाएगा, इंडक्टर के अक्रॉस भी किया जाएगा, और कैपेसिटर के अक्रॉस भी किया जाएगा। इट मीन्स टोटल अपोजिशन हमारे पास इन तीनों कंपोनेंट की इफेक्टिव वैल्यू के इक्वल हो जाएगी। अब टोटल अपोजिशन जो इस सर्किट में है, उस टोटल अपोजिशन को हम कहते हैं इम्पीडेंस। कि इम्पीडेंस क्या है कि टोटल अपोजिशन टू द फ्लो ऑफ अल्टरनेटिंग करंट फ्लो इन एसी सर्किट। बट ये कितनी होगी, ये अपोजिशन हो कितनी सकती है, तो हम कहते हैं कि जो अपोजिशन रेजिस्टर के अक्रॉस है, ये जो अपोजिशन इंडक्टर के अक्रॉस है, एंड जो अपोजिशन कैपेसिटर के अक्रॉस है, इन तीनों की इफेक्टिव वैल्यू जितनी होगी, लाइक इन तीनों के कंबाइंड इफेक्ट जितनी होगी हमारे पास इम्पीडेंस। तो फिर इम्पीडेंस ऑफ सर्किट को कैसे डिफाइन करेंगे? तो व्हाट इज इम्पीडेंस ऑफ अ सर्किट? देन वी कैन डिफाइन इट एज टोटल अपोजिशन टू द फ्लो ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिक करंट थ्रू एन एसी सर्किट इज कॉल्ड इट्स इम्पीडेंस, एंड its effect is equal to the combined effect of resistance of the resistor and reactance of a capacitor as well as reactance of an inductor. Mean total magnitude of this impedance or total value or total effect will be the combined effect of resistance, reactance of inductor and reactance of capacitor. And it is represented by C. That is, total impedance of any circuit is represented by C. C denotes the impedance. That is symbolic representation to represent the impedance of an AC circuit. It is represented by C, and it can be calculated by using phasor diagram or phasor method. With the help of vectors, we can represent each quantity across this AC circuit with the help of vectors, and tail of that vector will represent the peak value or root mean square value of that quantity, and with the help of vector addition we can find the combined effects of all these opposition across all these components that will give the impedance of that circuit. As we know, we have already studied about it, that current and resistance across a resistor are always in phase. That is to say, when current is zero across the resistor, voltage across that resistor will also be zero. When current is maximum, then voltage across that resistor will also be maximum. But this case change when we jump into inductor or capacitor. When we look upon the inductor of a circuit, then according to Faraday's law, little change in current will reduces EMF across that inductor. That is that EMF that opposes our applied EMF. When flux change through this inductor, EMF established across this inductor. And that EMF will oppose the flow of current. And then we have to supply in equal magnitude to the EMF induced in this inductor by this alternating source of EMF. इस alternating source of EMF से हम इतनी EMF सप्लाई करेंगे जितनी इसके अगेंस्ट इस इंड्यूस हुई है। तो उसके बाद फिर जब हम दोनों EMF को बैलेंस कर जाएंगे तो तब करंट फ्लो करेगा। जब तक इस EMF जितनी जो इसके क्रॉस इंड्यूस हुई है हम यहाँ से सप्लाई नहीं करते तब तक कोई करंट इसके क्रॉस नहीं होगा। इट मीन्स voltage across inductor will lead. First, voltage will establish across the inductor and then current will flow through this inductor. That is to say, voltage will lead the current by phase of 90 degree and we have already calculated it. Now, when we jump a capacitor, then we came to know that current through the capacitor leads the voltage across the capacitor by a phase of pi by 2. That means first current will flow and then voltage will establish. What does it mean? That voltage across capacitor will establish when charges are compressed across the plate of the capacitor, and charge will compressed when charge will move through the circuit and then they will compile up on these plates and voltage will establish. That means current will flow as compared to voltage. Current will lead. Current will establish first and then voltage will establish across the capacitor. Mean current will lead the voltage across the capacitor by phase of pi by 2. And we have already seen it AC through our capacitor. And now, to calculate the total impedance across this circuit, first we have to know what is the impedance or what is the opposition. By Ohm's law we know that total voltage across in a circuit will be equal to the current flowing through that circuit and resistance of the circuit. Like this is a simplest circuit. If we calculate the voltage established across this circuit, like voltage established across this resistance, that magnitude of this voltage will be equal to current flowing through this circuit or this resistor multiplied by voltage resistance of the circuit. That is to say, product of current and resistance will give the voltage, and then what will be the resistance? That is opposition. Opposition will always equal to the ratio of current to voltage. Voltage to current. It means opposition of a circuit. Opposition in this circuit is resistance, but when we talk about an AC circuit having 3 controlling components, then total opposition means impedance of that circuit. If we consider this simple circuit, then ratio of voltage to current will give the resistance of that circuit, that is opposition. but we take this AC circuit into account, then total opposition, that is impedance, will be equal to the total EMF across these components and to the total electric current flowing through these components. As we know, there is no other path of current through this loop. There is only one path. It means if current I is flowing through this loop, it means same magnitude of current will be across resistance, inductor and capacitor, because there is no other way. If there are some branches and current will go through these branches, then will take that current across resistor may be different from the current across inductor. But if there is no other path, there is no other branch, it means total current across a closed loop will always same. Magnitude of the current will remain same across a closed loop. Like branch B, if we have considered another component like inductor or resistor S, then some current will follow this path and remaining current will follow the path through the capacitor. It means current across this inductor and capacitor may be different than the current across resistor. But if we don't have such kind of branches, then current across resistor will be same as current across inductor and current across capacitor. It means current across each component is same. If current is same, then we can give it name current RMS or I naught. But the magnitude of AC current that contributes to the power part is its IRMS. Root means squared value of current. That we have already calculated this value of current and we have already go through what is IRMS. But now we can draw phasor diagram to calculate the total impedance of circuit. And to calculate the total impedance of the circuit, we require which two things? Ratio, to calculate the ratio, that is voltage and current. To calculate the ratio of total voltage to the total current, we will end up with total impedance of the circuit. So now consider current is flowing through the circuit. This I naught or RMS. I root means square. If current is represented by this range, then voltage across the resistor will also be represented by a vector which is along the same line, because voltage and current across the resistor are always in phase. So voltage across the resistor will also be drawn on the same line, that is VR. And voltage across the inductor is leading or is at an angle of current by pi by 2. Means voltage across inductor leads the current with a phase of pi by 2. If vector of current is along this line, then voltage will be perpendicular to this, that is voltage across inductor. And voltage across capacitor is lagging behind the current with a phase difference of pi by 2. Mean to say, voltage, when we draw a vector to represent the voltage across capacitor, we will draw it at angle of 90 degree. but lagging behind the current. Mean to say, we will draw voltage across inductor or capacitor like this, that is 90 degree lagging behind the current, that is minus pi by 2, and that means plus pi by 2. Means this voltage is leading the current by 90 degree and the voltage across capacitor is lagging behind the current with a phase of pi by 2. Minus pi by 2 means that is lagging behind. Now we will calculate total voltage to find the voltage to current ratio, to find the position. To calculate total voltage, we will add all these voltages, that is voltage across resistor, voltage across inductor and voltage across capacitor. But how we have represented all these quantities with vectors, and to sum all of them we will use vector addition, and we are doing here with vector addition if two vectors are opposite to each other, that is F1 and F2. Then their sum will use the difference of these two due to opposition, that is in opposite direction, like this. Now if we add VL and VC, then due to opposite direction their sum will use the difference. If from Ohm's law we also know that V across resistor is equal to I into opposition, that is resistance, and V across inductor is equal to current and opposition, that is reactance of inductor, and V across capacitor is equal to current and reactance of capacitor. If reactance of XL is greater than XC, then current through all these components are same. Then due to greater in magnitude, XL is greater than XC, mean VL is greater than VC, that is VL is greater than VC. Then their difference will given by VL minus VC. And if XL is less than XC, if magnitude of reactance of inductor is smaller than the magnitude of the reactance of a capacitor, then due to same magnitude of current, VC will be greater than the VL due to greater in magnitude of XC. Then VC will be greater than VL. Then their difference is given as VC minus VL. And you can calculate, or you can use any method whether you place that XL is greater than, or you can suppose maybe they may have equal magnitude, that is XL is equal to XC. It means VL will become equal to VC. Then their resultant will become 0. Alright. But these are three different cases, and you can apply any case on the resultant value that you have obtained by using head to tail. Now we can see that in one case, as you in one case, except because if we take XL is equal to XC, then the resultant will become 0, and we will finish up with the total voltage will be equal to same as IR. So we will take in the general case, but both are there, either this or this. Suppose XL is greater than XC. These are supposed, and we will take this vector a little bit smaller than this. That VL is greater than VC, then their resultant will become that the value of VL which is equal to VC will be cancelled out due to opposition of VC. That suppose this magnitude of VC is like from here to here, and then the magnitude of VL will be cancelled out, which is exactly equal to the magnitude of VC, and we will remain with the difference of these two. That is differences from here to here, and that is resultant of these two. And we will draw a resultant of these two vectors. That is, this is the resultant vector of VL and VC, and which is equal to VL minus VC. Now we have added the two voltages across inductor and capacitor, and to add all these three, we will add voltage across resistor with the resultant of VL and VC, and voltage across resistor is given by this line. Then we can draw a vector which represents the voltage across resistor, and the resultant of these three voltages will be drawn by this vector, and that vector is the total EMF RMS across AC circuit. RE we can represent it as E naught, that is total voltage or maximum voltage across the circuit. And now from this diagram, how can you represent the resultant? That is to say, if we cancel the value of VLC which is equal to the VC, that value of VLC which is equal to VC, that is how much? Up to the magnitude of this market, up to the magnitude of this market, almost above this, all the tail of this vector will be cancelled due to position of VC. Then we will remain with this, and this is the resultant of both of these two, that is VL minus VC, and we will place this resultant here because both are equal vector, VL minus VC. Then resultant of all these three is given by this root mixture value, and that value will be equal to sum of all these, and now we will end up with a right angle triangle. From this right angle triangle or from this right angle triangle, you can see this is perpendicular, base and hypotenuse, and you can apply Pythagoras theorem to calculate the total impedance by Pythagoras theorem. square of hypotenuse is equal to the square of base plus square of perpendicular. And to find the value of just hypotenuse, we will take root on both sides, and square of hypotenuse will cancel with the root of square, and we will get hypotenuse. Here hypotenuse is total EMF across the circuit. A root mean square will be equal to root of VR square into VL minus VC square. As VR is equal to I naught or I RMS, you can represent I RMS into R. VL is equal to current across inductor into opposition, and VC is equal to current across capacitor. As current across all these three components is same because there is no other way. I root mean square value into opposition of capacitor. Putting these values in this equation, we will get A root mean square value will be equal to I RMS into R square plus root mean square value of current into reactance of inductor minus root mean square value into reactance of capacitor. And we can take current through all three terms as a common quantity, but all three terms has square also. So when we take the current as a common, it means with square we will take the square of current as a common quantity from all these three terms. So square of current will cancel with the root of current. Then we will remain simple root mean square value of current, which is out of this main, and resistance XL minus XC square. To calculate the total impedance, we know that total opposition of the circuit is always equal to the total voltage to the total current. As total voltage across this circuit is the vector sum of all the voltages across resistor, inductor and capacitor, that is given by this phasor diagram, that is E RMS, and which is calculated by Pythagoras theorem, which is given as. Now we will divide this total voltage by total current. Then we will get, by dividing these two terms, we will remain R square plus XL minus XC whole square. And ratio of total voltage across the circuit to the total current will use opposition, but here opposition is total impedance. So total impedance, by plugging total impedance in place of ratio of voltage to current, we will get total impedance will be equal to R square plus XL minus XC square. From this relation, we can see the total impedance of a circuit containing inductor, capacitor and resistor as their current controlling components will be equal to the combined effect of all these three. That is effect of resistance, effect of reactance of inductor and effect of reactance of capacitor. So when will total impedance across the circuit will be minimum. It means if XL is greater than XC, then difference of these two will give non-zero value, and that value will add with the resistance and give some value of total impedance. But if XC is greater than XL, then difference is also non-zero but with negative sign, and square of any negative number will change into positive, and that will add with the value of resistance, and we will get some value of impedance. But if XL is neither greater nor smaller than XC, that is XL is equal to XC, then what will happen? As XL is equal to XC, impedance will be minimum, and that minimum impedance is equal to, because all this factor will be 0, and net impedance will be equal to the square of resistance with root, and root will cancel with square, and net impedance will be equal to resistance of the circuit. That is minimum impedance, and at this condition, due to minimum impedance, current will be maximum through the circuit. But at all other conditions, whether XC is greater than XL or XL is greater than XC, we will have impedance of the circuit will be greater than this minimum value of that impedance. So, by plugging the value of reactance of inductor and reactance of capacitor, we get, as we have previously stated, XL is equal to omega L and XC is equal to 1 by omega C. And we have already derived these relations in capacitive circuit as well as AC across inductor and AC across capacitor. So, plugging these values in this equation, we will get total impedance of the circuit is equal to omega L minus 1 by omega C whole square. That is the total impedance. And but question arises, how can XL will be equal to XC? Because are we aware that XL and XC are opposite to each other? One is allow the DC current to flow through it, and other one allow the AC current to flow through it. Mean XC is supportive to AC, but XL is supportive to DC. XL supports the DC current, but XC supports the AC current. XC opposes the DC current, but XL opposes AC current. As if current is DC, direct current, if current is direct, then while when current will flow through this circuit, the magnitude of current through this inductor will remain same because current is DC, and the magnitude of that current doesn't change with respect to time. The net change in flux through this inductor will be 0. If there is no change in flux, there will be no back EMF. If there is no back EMF, then there is no opposition to the applied EMF. Mean XL will be, that is opposition will be 0 if current is DC. But if current is DC, that one terminal of this plate of capacitor is connected with, suppose, positive terminal of battery and the other one is negative terminal of battery, then positive charges will come out on this plate and negative charges on the other plate, and these charges that are already present in any interval of time on these plates will oppose other incoming charges. That opposition will increases with the passage of time. But if AC is supplied, the current through this inductor will change because magnitude of AC is constantly changing. Due to change in magnitude of current, flux will change at each time through this inductor. The back EMF will establish and that will oppose the applied EMF. That means XL will increase. If current is changing at much higher rate, then due to change, flux will changes at same rate, and with higher change in flux, stronger back EMF will establish and strong opposition will occur to the applied EMF through this inductor. That is, opposition XL will increase. But when we talk about capacitor, then if we have AC line with high frequency, that changes its magnitude as well as polarity at very fast pace. That means with positive pulse, that is during positive cycle, positive charges compile here. But at the same time, within no time, that is in nanosecond, negative cycle can mean polarity exchange due to change in polarity. Now negative charges will flow towards this plate and negative and positive will annihilate the effect of each other. There will be no opposition to the new incoming charges. That opposition will minimized when angular frequency is high. That is for AC. But for DC, it increases with the passage of time, and vice versa. So we can, if we have like XC and XL, that is, we know that XC is equal to 1 by omega C and XL is equal to omega, and omega is equal to 0. If omega is 0, then XC will be infinite, meaning omega is 0, that is DC current, and DC current there is no change in polarity, so same kind of charges will compile on same plate. So due to which opposition will increases with the passage of time. That is opposition will maximum. Opposition will maximum. So this is the level that shows maximum opposition, and it is the level that shows minimum opposition. At the same time, putting the value of omega is equal to 0 here, XL will be 0. That is, opposition across inductor is 0. Opposition of capacitor is maximum, and we can represent them as XC and XL. Now, when we increase the omega, by increasing the omega, XC will decrease. By increasing the omega, mean DC is changing into AC. Then XC, opposition across capacitor, will reduces, but due to change in current, back EMF will establish here, and opposition across inductor will increases. So opposition across inductor will increases. Opposition across inductor will increases, and opposition across capacitor will decrease, and so on. We carry on this process, and the time came when both XC and XL will meet each other. And the time came that value of XC and XL will approaches to each other. At that point, impedance of the circuit will be minimum, and at that instant of time, current through the circuit will will be maximum. And now the frequency at which XL is equal to XC, that frequency is natural frequency of the circuit or resonance frequency. That is the frequency through which circuit is resonating. And at that frequency, XC approaches to XL and impedance will be minimum, and all other values in that frequency, whether smaller or larger, impedance will be greatest. Now we are going to study one thing more. That is easy but tricky one. As we have studied already, that is across resistor, current and voltage, both are in same phase. Across inductor, current and voltage are at right angle to each other. That is, current across inductor, resistor and capacitor will be same. So current is represented by a same line. So this vector is representing here. And current across capacitor and voltage across capacitor are also right angle to each other. But what is the difference? That across resistor current and voltage are in same phase, across inductor current and voltage are right angle to each other, but voltage leads the current by a phase of pi by 2, and across capacitor voltage lagging behind the current by a phase of pi by 2. Now, and these all are easy, but somehow we have calculated about them, and we have already go through how these are possible. But now we are going to study if we have a circuit that contains resistor with inductor, or resistor with capacitor, or resistor, inductor and capacitor at the same time, then what will be the phase difference between current and voltage? First, we consider RL circuit. RL circuit. That is, circuit diagram will be given by connecting one end of the resistance with any AC source that may be generated or any other AC source, and other end of the resistor is connecting with inductor and then AC source. Suppose at any time interval the current I is flowing through the circuit. That you can denote this current with RMS or I not, but we can represent it as a simple I mean IRMS. Current I is flowing through the resistor, and we already know current and voltage across resistor are in same phase, and across inductor current is represented by same vector, but voltage leads the current by a phase of pi by 2. Now we calculate the net voltage, that is voltage across resistor and voltage across inductor by a phasor diagram. Is This vector represents the current of the circuit, that is I. And voltage across the resistor lies on the same line, that is the R, and voltage across the inductor leading the current through an angle of pi by 2. Then by adding VL and VR, according to head to tail, that placing this vector VL on the head of this vector VR, that is tail of VL will coincide with the head of VR, and that represents the wave, because both are in the same direction, upward direction, magnitude of both of them are same, and these two represent the equal vector regardless of their position. So according to head to tail rule, resultant of VR and VL is represented by this, and this is the resultant EM. And this resultant, as this line shows that current at this instant of time lying here, but voltage at this instant of time across the capacitor lies on this line, that is at an angle of phi, but this phi angle is in positive direction, so that means EMF across RL circuit always leads the current through this circuit by a phase of phi. We can calculate this phi, but first we calculate EMF as by using Pythagoras theorem, same method, EMF will be equal to VR square plus VL square, and by placing the value V by Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, we will get I into R square plus I into XL square, where XL is the opposition or reactance of inductor. By taking I common, we get total EMF to the total current will be equal to R square plus XL square. That is, total EMF to current ratio is impedance of that circuit will be equal to R square plus XL square. This is the impedance of RL series circuit. RL series circuit. Now, placing the value of VR into DC and this equation, we will get I into R whole square plus I into opposition, that is reactance across inductor whole square. Taking I square common and square of I will cancel with a root of I, and we will take I out of this root, and that will divide to this EMF. First we will take I common from here, but that is I is multiplying with this vector, and on the other side of the plane it will divide. And that shows ratio of EMF to current, that is impedance of this RL circuit, and this impedance will be equal to the combined effect of resistance and reactance of inductor. And we can represent this impedance with a phasor diagram, as we have already represented EMF with the phasor diagram, and we know that total opposition is always equal to voltage to the current. Now you can divide this voltage across inductor with current I, or here that will give XL, and voltage across resistor with I will give resistance, and total EMF of the circuit with I will use total impedance. And now this horizontal vector will represent resistance, and XL is at a phase of, that is phase difference of pi by 2 with this reference line resistance. And you can represent this diagram here, that is it is R and at an angle of pi by 2 XL vector is drawn. But this vector can be taken here by head to tail rule. You can represent resultant of R and XL, that is impedance of the circuit, which is equal to Z. And now Z is at an angle of phi, because Z is at an angle of phi, that is EMF is at an angle of phi at I. That EMF leads the current I through a phase difference of phi in RL series circuit. That current is on this line, but EMF is represented by this letter, that is exactly inclined at the angle of phi with respect to current. That means EMF of this RL circuit leads the current through a phase difference of phi, and that phi is calculated by using this diagram. That is, this is simple right angle triangle. This side represents the perpendicular, base and hypotenuse. Then rise or run gives you slope. That slope is represented always with tan theta, and which is equal to perpendicular by base. Rise means perpendicular and run by mean base. Perpendicular by base, and placing the value of perpendicular x, L and base with R, and XL is represented. XL is equal to angular frequency multiplied by inductance, and you can calculate the phi, that is phi is equal to n inverse of omega L by R. And that shows phi is not fixed, that is at 20 angle or 40 or 50. That means through how much angle EMF across RL series circuit leads the current. That depends upon three factors omega, L and R. But it is always less than 90. EMF leads the current through an angle, but not through the angle of 90 as lead a pure capacitive circuit, that inductive circuit, that is across inductor voltage leads the current through an angle of pi by 2, but not across RL circuit, because there is also R is present. So due to the presence of R, EMF leads the current still, but not through angle of pi by 2, but through some angle phi, and that phi is calculated by this. Now you can find all these stuff in RC circuit by your own, but just I go ahead. First draw the AC circuit, that is RC series circuit containing R and C as its controlling component. As we know, the R and I both are in phase across resistor, and I and voltage across capacitor are right angle to each other, but voltage across capacitor always lagging behind the current through a phase of pi by 2. Now, if we draw a vector that represents the current on this line, it means VR is also on the same line because both are in phase, but VC is at pi by 2 with R, but negative pi by 2. Negative pi by 2 means VC is lagging behind the current through a phase of pi by 2. Now you can place this VC here. Now apply head to tail rule. You can find total EMF, that will be equal to VR, combined effect of VR and VC, and that is represented by this vector. And also putting the values by using Pythagoras theorem and replacing VL by VC you can find all this stuff. But one thing is different, that here EMF is also at an angle of phi with current, and here is also EMF is at an angle of phi with current. But here EMF leads the current through angle of phi, but here EMF lagging behind the current through an angle of phi, and you can find phi by this method. But here XL is replaced by XC, and then XC is equal to 1 by omega C, and then you will end up with 1 by omega C R, and this phi is also less than 90. But because across capacitor current leads the voltage through a phase difference of 90, but across RC circuit, because R is also present, so here still current leads the voltage, but not with the phase of pi by 2, but with the phase of phi, and that phi depends upon omega C and I here. But for RL